So today we are going to discuss about one of the important topics of economic geography. This is paper 1 section D. So it is a part of human geography. So that is location of industries. So this is also known as industrial location theories. So what is industry? Industry is an economic landscape. In context of geography, we consider industry or industrial activity or secondary activity as the economic landscape, and this is the result of man interacting with the physical environment. So industrial units are set up in order to fulfill the human needs, and they utilize the raw material and convert this raw material by processing them into some commodities. So we are talking here about manufacturing unit. So industrial location theory in your syllabus is about manufacturing. This is the secondary economic activity. Now here, so industrial location theory, these are the theories related to finding out the optimum location of industries. What do you mean by an optimum location? Optimum location means where this economic activity can be best placed. The optimum location means where the economic activity can flourish. Optimum location also means that where the objective of the economic landscapes are fulfilled. So if you say that optimum location of agriculture means where we are able to fulfill the demand of certain commodities produced in agriculture, or optimum location of industry means where if the industries are set up, they can flourish, they can develop, they can sustain themselves, there is availability of inputs and also there is a demand for output. So optimum location of any economic landscape depends on two things. One is the site of that economic landscape, and second is situation of the economic landscape. Now here you can apply this to any of the economic landscape. This can be the optimum location of the primary activity or secondary activity or tertiary activity. So you can take it as optimum location of agriculture. So this is a basic formula which can be applied to all the type of economic landscape. Here we are applying this for the location of industrial landscapes. So industries also will depend on two things. One is the site. What is meaning of a site? Site is the geographical conditions of that region. Geographical condition here, it means that whether the industries are supported by the climatic condition, it can be topographical condition, it is a terrain, physiography or availability of the raw material. So first is site. Site pertains to the natural or geographical factors, and second is situation. Situation is the human factors that support the industry. Now here human factor includes, it can be like population or consumers, demand, market, government policy, labor, etc. So all the human factors we will consider in situation. So every economic landscape, for that matter industry, will depend on two things, site and situation. Now in your syllabus we understand the location of industries in two ways. So it is known as approach for industrial location. So one approach is the least cost location approach. Least cost location approach means the industries can be located where the cost of production is minimum. So what is the most profitable? So here what we are trying to understand is optimum location of industry is the location where the industries will be able to maximize their profit. How the industries can maximize the profit? Now there are two ways. One, the industry can maximize the profit by cutting down the cost of production. This will be known as least cost approach. In least cost approach, we try to identify the location where the cost of production is minimum, where we will be able to further reduce the cost of production. So comparing with the market price of a particular product, if the cost of production is minimized, obviously the profit will be maximized here. Next is the revenue approach. Revenue approach is also known as the market approach. So here the focus is not only on minimizing the cost of production, but here the focus is on maximizing the revenue, in the sense that maximizing the sale of the product in the market. So therefore it is known as market approach. Here the focus is how much we can sell a particular commodity into the market. So that will be known as a revenue approach. So per unit cost might be less, but if your scale of production is more and your sale in the market is more, the profit is maximized here. So there are two schools of thought related to the profit maximization. First one is the least cost, which is focusing on cost of production, and second one is revenue approach, which focuses on the market. Now, what is there as a model? So we have one model in your syllabus related to the industry. This is known as Weber's model of industrial location. So given by Alfred Weber, so he talked about how the industries, particularly the manufacturing units, can be located on the basis of cost of production. So this is also following a least cost approach. The intention of the Weber's theory is to identify the location of the industry where the cost of production can be further minimized. So what Weber said, so I am just giving you the basic idea of the model. We will be discussing detail again. So this is the basic structure of the model. So according to Weber, the location of the industry depends on three things. That is raw material, the type of raw material required for any kind of production. So he said that the raw material can be of two types. One is the ubiquitous raw material. What is ubiquitous? Means where the raw material is easily available at all the places. Like you can talk about the water, availability of water at all the places. So this will be, which is general and available or can be made available at all the places. This will be known as ubiquitous. But certain raw materials are produced, located in a specific region, that will be known as localized. For example, agro-based raw material. So you say sugar cane for sugar industry. Where it is, it cannot be found at all the places. Sugar cane is located at certain region because sugar cane is a tropical crop. Now you can talk about bamboo. Again, certain regions are there. So all the agro-based industries, they are based on the localized raw material. Ore is also localized. So iron ore not found at all the places. Coal not found at all the places. So in this way, the industries depend on two things, whether the material is ubiquitous or it is localized. Then the type of industry, what type of industry it is, whether it is a weight gaining industries or it is weight losing industry. So what is meaning of these two? Weight gaining or weight losing means after processing, what will happen to the raw material. So let us say, take an example of a sugar industry. If you are processing 100 tons of sugar cane, the output is sugar, the weight of sugar will be 10 tons. Means here what has happened? The weight of raw material is much higher than the weight of the product. The raw material loses its weight after production, after processing. This will be known as weight losing. But in some industries, after processing, the output becomes much bulkier. It may be where there is fermentation, like bakery products, where there is beverage industry, it may be like it is a soft drink industry where the weight of the product is increasing after processing. The product becomes more bulkier than the raw material. Such type of industries are known as weight gaining industries. Now here, so based on this, he devised an index that is known as material index. Material index is a ratio of input by output. So weight of raw material, that is input, and denominator is weight of product, that is output. So if you take a sugar industry, if you have like 10 tons of sugar cane, this is input, and 1 ton of sugar, this will be output. So 10 divided by 1, this will be known as material index, and the value of material index will decide whether the industry is weight losing or weight gaining. So if the material index is greater than 1, this is weight losing. Material index is less than 1, this will be weight gaining industries. Now, according to Weber, the optimum location of industry will be by considering 3 factors. He said that the location of industry depends on, number 1 is cost of transportation. So cost of transportation is, now cost of transport depends on distance and the weight of the material to be transported, whether it is a weight of material to material, raw material, or weight of the product from industrial unit to the market. So there are 2 things that determines the transportation cost: distance and weight. Next is labor cost. Labor cost, so wage rate. So wage, according to Weber, the wage rate varies from one location to other. As we move from the industrial unit, the cost of labor goes on decreasing. And the third factor, he said that it is the industries can further reduce the cost of production by coming closer to each other, that he mentioned as agglomeration. So agglomeration is the clustering of the industrial unit. They can take the advantage of common raw material, they can take the advantage of inter-industrial linkages and further reduce or minimize the cost of production. This will be the three factors that influence our industrial location or optimum location of the industries. Now, according to transportation cost, he gave least cost location. See, approach is least cost approach. In this, it is LCL, least cost location. So least cost location is the location where the cost of transportation is minimum. So the idea of Weber was, if any industry is working on the transportation cost, if any industry is able to reduce the transportation cost further, then the cost of production also can be minimized. So find out the location where the cost of production is less, and this location will be somewhere between raw material and the market. So there are certain assumptions that were considered by Weber in developing this model. So we will be discussing in detail about what is assumption of the Weber, and then we'll see how is least cost location and labor and then agglomeration is going to help us in identifying the location of the industry where the cost of production is minimum. So we will be, now this is the basic structure of the model. We will be discussing again to start with what will be the basic assumption of the theory. Then we'll look at what is the influence of transportation cost in detail, then influence of labor cost in detail, and then influence of the agglomeration. See, the type of question that are appearing in exam is not on the entire model. So nowadays when the question is asked like for 10 mark or 15 mark, they can ask you one factor. Means like in the previous years they have asked how is the locational triangle. Locational triangle is related to the transportation cost. They can ask you about isodapane and isoteams. This is related to the labor cost. They can ask you about the triangle and overlap of the triangle or overlap of the critical isoterpene that is related to the agglomeration tendencies. So I have given you here the basic structure of the topic. So we will be in class, we will be discussing in detail about this model.